Welcome and thank you for joining us for an extended weather forecast where we're taking a deeper dive into the atmosphere happening over California, as well as these atmospheric rivers bringing and inundating us with all of this wet weather. And yeah, we've gotten through two already. We still have at least two more to go. As we track some of our satellite radar this evening into your really Tuesday night, we're seeing a lot of the heavier rain being pushed now into foothill spots. And for the Sierra, some of those snow levels will begin dropping down to as low even as about 4,000 to 5,000 feet into Wednesday morning. What we're seeing is that the majority of that heavy rain has already begun pushing toward the east, still getting some pockets, areas of the San Joaquin Valley from Stockton down with still some heavy rain as of 8:30 p.m. But just behind these lines of showers, we're starting to at least see things slowing down with just scattered showers now remaining. And then moving into Wednesday morning, could see a little bit left over, but most likely just cloudy skies to start your morning. Let's take a look at the precipitation we've seen so far since midnight. So that is really early Tuesday morning at midnight all the way now until about 8:30 p.m. We're seeing about 1.5 inches of rain for the Sacramento area to Marysville. Auburn, 1 3/4 inch, over 2 inches of rain in Oroville, and Fairfield pushing almost 2 inches of rain. You can see Santa Rosa 2 3/4 almost, and San Francisco 1 3/4 inch of rain. A lot of rain in just about a 24-hour period, and we still have a little bit more to go, especially into the foothill spots. As we take a look at some of the red zones there, we've even seen some localized numbers and stations reporting upwards of 5 to 6 inches of rainfall within just a 24-hour period. So a lot of rain in a short amount of time is now equaled higher river levels. And what we're seeing currently is most of them are at monitor stage. Now, this is for areas like the Yellow Bypass, Cosumnes River, Sacramento River at the Fremont Weir, and Yuba River. They're all just approaching that monitor stage, getting very close. You see 31, 32. That's the current levels as of Tuesday evening, getting close to monitor stage for most of them. But as you take a look at Russian River, there's been issues there today. As of Tuesday, seeing that over monitor level, which is 29 feet, and now exceeding that with 29.27. The forecast for that is expected to rise just a little bit more before receding. So we're still looking at high levels into Wednesday, and that's already causing difficulties across the area near the Russian River. We've already seeing some of those homes impacted. Now, a lot of these areas continue to see these monitor stages being pushed, but as soon as they get exceeded, that is where we get to moderate flood stage. So we're really only seeing one at that point has reached the moderate flood stage, I should say, but we're still looking at a lot more atmospheric rivers headed our way, which will inundate a lot of our areas and continue to rise these rivers. Now, the atmospheric river moving past us is the one that we've seen from Tuesday toward Wednesday. It started up late Monday night, and that'll shift its way towards Southern California into Wednesday and Thursday. Then right behind that, we actually have another one expected to make its way from Thursday into Friday into our area. Not quite as impactful as what we just experienced as of really the entirety of Tuesday, but it will still bring upwards of a ½ inch to an inch of rain into our valley spots, then shift towards Southern California. Now we'll have a small lull into next week before we see the next one arriving. This one looks pretty big. Looks like most of the area here with this atmospheric river is expected to see massive plumes of moisture behind it, coming just north of the Hawaiian Islands and really beginning to bring in more moisture. It looks at this point in time to Southern California rather than Northern California. Yes, we'll still see some rain, but looks like the majority of that plume of moisture is targeting Southern California. We know they've had a lot of fires there, so a lot of that moisture not good all at once. Hopefully gives it some time to at least settle into the soil and we don't see too many mudslides or landslides. That is the hope. As we take a look toward your Valentine's Day weekend, we're still seeing some more atmospheric rivers out there ready to bring in that more of that moisture into our low pressure systems. Now, we're looking at the forecast moving toward next week. The AR landfall forecast, which is the atmospheric river landfall, is still looking to be a Category 4. That's extreme. We've seen that this week already at a 4. It's staying and remaining at a 4. And it's not just because we're seeing more moisture necessarily. We're still getting a lot of moisture, but it's the fact that we've already been hit with a lot of moisture. The soil there is still trying to absorb it, but we continue to get hit with more, which will make that landfall at least more impactful as it continues to move in. We could expect to see even more of that wet weather for our foothill spots and some of the higher foothills near the Sierra, 4 to 6 inches possible. Meanwhile, we could still see with the next two systems arriving 2 to 4 inches for areas into the valley. We do have weather impact alert day still being issued for Thursday for more of those wet weather conditions coming our way. We do have several storms coming. The first one, which we've experienced already this week, is coming to an end into overnight Tuesday to Wednesday morning. But the next storm system on the way is coming in for Thursday, primarily Thursday through Friday morning. And what we've been seeing here is that this latest one, the Tuesday effect, will come to an end shortly as we get closer to about midnight, early morning hours, but still continuing to see valley rain and Sierra snowfall. Really, the need is to just be careful. Make sure you're watching for those flooded areas. If you can't even see how deep it's going, you're better off turning around rather than getting your car lifted away and being carried and trying to get rescued from that. Just not a safe situation. We're still seeing some intense rainfall as of Tuesday night, especially into our foothill spots. Now, I want to focus on this here. We do have that strong low that's been dragging all this moisture across our region, but take a look behind it. This is where we're starting to grab onto our atmospheric rivers, and this low has been extremely interesting. As we've been watching this as a mesoscale convective complex, what we're seeing here is the potential. Notice how there's almost three together, but they're swirling around a low. It's almost as if it's producing its own kind of convection, which would be unstable weather conditions there, which usually is, we see these kind of things in the Midwest, but having it over open water in the middle of winter just shows how much warmth there really is and moisture with these atmospheric rivers. This is expected to be carried along with it and headed our way sometime potentially into next week, but also mostly into those atmospheric rivers. Now let's take a look at some of our watches, warnings, and advisories. We do still have a flood warning and a flood watch in effect. We have the warning closer to the bay for areas north of San Francisco and North Bay, as you are seeing a lot of areas with rising rivers, creeks, and streams. For our valley spots, we've been watching a flood watch as well for a lot of areas of localized ponding and flooding on roadways. And then a wind advisory comes to an end at 10 p.m. for Tuesday. Things are finally starting to slow down, but it was an extremely windy day Tuesday. We saw some of the wind gusts up to almost 50 miles per hour into our valley spots and pushing over 60 mile per hour wind gusts in South Lake Tahoe. So extremely strong winds throughout the day. A winter storm warning comes to an end Wednesday morning. That's 10 a.m. for some of that lower snow elevation and icy roads. But with that is also comes this avalanche warning. We've seen it go into effect as of Tuesday through Wednesday, 6 a.m. for some of that blowing snow, but this is mostly for potential loose snow there and loose ground for backcountry driving or even skiing is not advised, as we're dealing with a lot of snow in a short amount of time with strong wind gusts. Now, as we take a look ahead, as we move through the night, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, notice we're still seeing some snow continuing here and some of the heaviest rain still pushing toward Calaveras County, Tuolumne County, all the way down toward Mariposa and then Yosemite. But meanwhile, just behind it, we're just seeing a lot of cloud coverage and even a little bit of clearing, which will drop temperatures overnight just a bit. And then we'll continue to see partly sunny skies, even moving into your Wednesday, some sunshine throughout the day. Clouds roll in Thursday into our overnight hours, but by Thursday, 8:30 a.m., you're seeing your first signs of some wet weather approaching the coastline, making its way in heavy at times throughout your Thursday, on and off heavy rain and mountain snow expected even as late as 1 p.m. on Friday. You're still looking at some of that heavy mountain snow. Meanwhile, we'll see on and off scattered showers Friday. Most of it just kind of hit and miss here and there. It'll be really Thursday that'll be the most impactful for you when it comes to that wet weather. Now, taking a look ahead, we'll start to see as we get toward Wednesday noon, a lot more wet weather toward next week and then into 2 a.m. Friday the following week. So again, as mentioned, we're still looking at another set of atmospheric rivers moving in after this one toward the following week. Now, rain totals, we're looking anywhere as we move from really Tuesday night towards Saturday, as much as mentioned, a ½ inch to maybe an inch of rain left with the next storm system arriving. Could get as high as about 2½ inches for areas like Grass Valley, 2 inches in Pollock Pines. And then when it comes to model snowfall totals, as we continue with the next storm system, it could start providing as much as about a foot of snow for some areas. And some, even the peaks here like Kirkwood, Twin Bridges, could get as much as almost 2 feet of snow potentially expected. European model is actually agreeing with the GFS this time, which has been interesting because this last week, these two models, which typically do pretty well, the GFS, which is a global model, and the European model, have been in complete disagreement for almost the entirety of a week. They've been showing such off numbers. They haven't really been that close to each other, but both of these are showing pretty much an agreement that we'll get about a foot of snow or so near Emigrant Gap, Donner, maybe a 1.5 feet to as much as almost 2 feet of snow near Twin Bridges. All right, taking a look at our 8 to 14-day climate outlook, we're likely looking cooler on the western U.S. here and very cold up to the north But what we're also going to expect to see is we're likely wetter as well, especially for the Pacific Northwest. And we are leaning wetter for areas of California, especially from central to northern California, and normal for Southern California for this time of year. All right, let's talk about temperatures. As I mentioned, we're going to start to see most of the clouds and showers heading out overnight from Tuesday to Wednesday morning. That's expected to drop our overnight lows significantly back down into these mid-30s daytime highs, in the mid-50s to upper 40s. Bay Area is looking at temperatures even overnight dropping as well, down to the mid-30s near Fairfield and Vacaville. San Francisco mid-40s, as well as Oakland with 39 degrees overnight in Tracy. Now for the valley, we're also going to see temperatures dropping dramatically. We've been really in these upper 40s, low 50s for quite a while now. We're finally getting all the clouds moving out once again. That will drop our overnight lows back into the mid-30s. Modesto looking at 56 for the high on your Wednesday, with 60 in Turlock, 59 in Patterson. And then over the next 3 days, mid-50s become low 50s with our weather impact alert day for you on Thursday. And finally, into Friday, we're seeing a little bit of those scattered showers throughout the morning, maybe lunchtime, with a peak of sunshine in the afternoon. Finally, for your weekend, Super Bowl weekend is ahead on Sunday. We'll see some sunshine Saturday, Sunday. Cold overnight lows near freezing, and then we'll continue into next week with mostly to partly sunny skies before we see the next storm system set to arrive that following Thursday.